Welcome to Audiobook Stall, where stories whisper truths louder than lies. Today, step into the shadows of 1984, a world of telescreens, tyranny, and one man's fight against the unbreakable grip of Big Brother. Grab your headphones, dim the lights, and let's unravel George Orwell's chilling tale together. Imagine living in a world where every move you make is watched, every word you say is recorded, and even your thoughts are controlled. A world where history is rewritten, and the truth is whatever the government says it is. This is the world of 1984, a dystopian masterpiece by George Orwell. The story takes place in Oceania, one of three superstates constantly at war. The ruling party, led by Big Brother, controls everything: the past, the present, and even the future. There is no freedom, no privacy, and no escape. The party decides what is true and what is false, and anyone who dares to think for themselves disappears forever. In the middle of this terrifying world is Winston Smith, an ordinary man with a dangerous secret. He hates the party. And this hatred will change his life forever. The plot: a rebellion doomed to fall. The story begins in a city that feels like a prison made of ash and steel. It's April, and a cold wind whips through the streets of London, except this isn't the London of history books. This is Airstrip 1, a bleak province of Oceania, one of three superstates locked in endless war. The year is 1984, or so they say. No one can be sure, because the past is a lie the party rewrites daily. Our guide through this nightmare is Winston Smith, a thin, stooped man of 39 with a nagging cough and a flicker of rebellion in his tired eyes. He works at the Ministry of Truth, a towering white pyramid where he spends his days altering old newspapers, erasing names, and forging new truths to match the party's latest whims. The party, led by the shadowy figure of Big Brother, demands absolute loyalty, and Winston's job is to ensure history bends to their will. But Winston is no loyal drone. Deep inside, he hates the party. He loathes Big Brother, whose stern face glares from posters plastered across the city, captioned "Big Brother is watching you." This hatred festers until one day, in a quiet act of defiance, Winston buys a forbidden diary from a junk shop in a rundown prole district, the slums where the unwashed masses live beyond the party's obsessive gaze. The shopkeeper, Mr. Charrington, an old man with a kindly air, sells him the leather-bound book, and Winston takes it home to his dingy apartment in Victory Mansions. There, with the telescreen buzzing propaganda in the corner, he hides in a nook just out of its sight and begins to write. His pen scratches out the unthinkable: "Down with Big Brother." He knows this could mean torture, execution, annihilation, but the act feels like breathing after years underwater. Life shifts when Winston meets Julia. She's a mechanic at the ministry, a dark-haired beauty in her mid-20s with a bold streak hidden beneath her party uniform. One day, as they pass in a corridor, she stumbles and falls, or so it seems. As Winston helps her up, she slips him a note. Later, alone, he unfolds it: "I love you." 3 words, simple yet explosive in a world where love is a rebellion, where the party demands every emotion be directed to Big Brother alone. They arrange to meet in secret, first in a crowded square where the telescreens can't pick out their whispers, then in the countryside beyond London's smog. Amid golden fields and a ruined church tower, they become lovers, stealing moments of tenderness in a society that forbids it. Julia brings chocolate, real chocolate, not the party's synthetic slop, and they dream of a life beyond the gray. Their rebellion grows bolder. Winston rents a room above Mr. Charrington's shop, a dusty hideaway with a bed and no telescreen. It's a fragile sanctuary where they talk, love, and imagine a world free of the party. Winston clings to a hope: the resistance. Rumors swirl of an underground movement led by a figure named O'Brien, a high-ranking inner party member with a sharp mind and a commanding presence. Winston has seen him at the ministry, felt his gaze. Could he be an ally? One day, O'Brien invites Winston and Julia to his luxurious apartment, a stark contrast to their squalor. He speaks of rebellion, of overthrowing Big Brother, and gives Winston a book by Emmanuel Goldstein, the party's archenemy. It's a manifesto of truth, a promise of hope. Winston reads it feverishly, believing freedom is near. But this is 1984, and hope is a trap. O'Brien is no savior. He's a loyalist, a spider weaving a web. One night, as Winston and Julia lie in their rented room, soldiers burst in. Mr. Charrington's voice crackles through a hidden telescreen. He's no kindly old man, but a party agent. They're dragged to the Ministry of Love, a windowless fortress where dissenters vanish. Winston's torture begins: electric shocks, beatings, starvation, under O'Brien's cold supervision. O'Brien reveals the party's truth: power isn't a means, it's the end. They don't want obedience, they want to crush the human spirit. Winston resists, clinging to his love for Julia, his belief in reality. But O'Brien knows his fear: rats. In room 101, a cage of starving rats is strapped to Winston's face. As they scrabble closer, he breaks. "Do it to Julia!" he screams, betraying her to save himself. Released a broken man, Winston sits in the Chestnut Tree Cafe, sipping Victory Gin. Julia, too, is free but hollow. They meet once, admitting their betrayals. The spark is gone. Winston gazes at Big Brother's face on a telescreen and feels something new: love. The party has won. The characters: faces in the shadow of tyranny. Winston Smith is no chiseled hero. He's a man worn thin by life, pale, scarred from a varicose ulcer, coughing from the damp of Victory Mansions. Yet his mind is alive, questioning, remembering fragments of a world before the party. He's a rebel not by action but by thought, a man who dares to dream of truth in a sea of lies. Julia is his mirror and his opposite. Younger, vibrant, with a practical streak, she rebels through living, through sex, stolen food, moments of joy. She doesn't care for grand ideals, she wants to feel human, to carve out a space the party can't touch. Her courage is quiet, her love a lifeline. Big Brother looms over all, a figurehead of terror. Is he real? A man? A myth? No one knows. His face, dark hair, mustache, piercing eyes, stares from every wall, a god of control. He's the party's soul, its promise and its threat. O'Brien is the executioner. Tall, urbane, with a voice that commands, he's the intellectual face of tyranny. He lures Winston with talk of rebellion, only to reveal his true self, a man who tortures not out of rage, but with a scientist's precision, savoring the breaking of a mind. The supporting cast fleshes out this world. Mr. Charrington, with his spectacles and Cockney accent, seems a relic of a lost past, until he's unmasked as a spy. Parsons, Winston's neighbor, is a sweaty, dim-witted party loyalist who's arrested for muttering against Big Brother in his sleep, betrayed by his own children. These are the faces of Oceania, the deceived, the deceivers, the damned. The setting: a landscape of despair. Airstrip 1 is a city of ruins. Bombs have pocked its streets, buildings crumble under years of neglect. The air carries the stench of boiled cabbage, coal dust, and defeat. Victory Mansions, Winston's home, is a rotting tower of peeling paint and broken lifts, its name a cruel joke. Telescreens hum in every corner, flat, glowing panels that spew propaganda, record every move, every word. Privacy is a memory. The ministries dominate the skyline. The Ministry of Truth, where Winston works, is a concrete giant, its 300-meter height a symbol of the party's reach. Inside, endless corridors lead to cubicles where clerks like Winston rewrite the past. The Ministry of Love, where he's tortured, is a fortress with no windows, surrounded by barbed wire and steel doors, a place that swallows light and hope. Beyond the city, the countryside offers a fleeting illusion of freedom. Winston and Julia escape to a clearing with a stream and a ruined church, its tower a skeleton against the sky. But even here, the party's shadow lingers, there's no true escape. The themes: echoes of a broken world. 1984 is a cry against tyranny. The party's slogan: war is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength is a twisted logic that binds Oceania. Totalitarianism here isn't just control of the body, it's the erasure of the self. Truth bends to power: if the party says 2 + 2 = 5, you must believe it. Surveillance is the air they breathe: telescreens, hidden microphones, children spying on parents. Freedom is a dream snuffed out before it can wake. Love and humanity are weapons of resistance. Winston and Julia's affair is more than passion, it's a refusal to let the party own their souls. Yet the party proves even this can be crushed. Memory and history are the final battlegrounds. By rewriting the past, the party ensures no one remembers what was lost, leaving only their version of reality. Conclusion: a warning that lingers. Orwell wrote 1984 in 1949, with fascism's ashes still warm and the Iron Curtain falling. It's a dystopia born of his time, but its claws sink into ours. Winston's defeat is a tragedy that asks, could we endure? The party's tools: propaganda, surveillance, fear, echo in our world, misinformation online, cameras on every street, data tracked by unseen hands. Big Brother feels less like fiction when your phone listens to your whispers. For Audiobooks Stall, this is a story to unravel over episodes. Start with the plot, hook them with Winston's diary, Julia's note, the rats. Dive into characters, painting Winston's frailty, O'Brien's menace. Set the scene with London's decay, then unpack themes and analysis to spark thought. Add sound, telescreen static, O'Brien's calm voice, rat scrabbling, and your audience will feel Orwell's chill.